Yes, sir. Man, I'm so excited right now. This is the first episode of the Purpose Driven Risk podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Strachan. You can just call me B. Everyone else does. But yeah, I am super excited. This first episode, we don't have a guest only because I want to just speak with you all. Before I go ahead and lend y'all out to, all these wonderful guests we have, I want to make sure that we bond. You know what I'm saying? This podcast is like my baby. It's kind of weird. I'm not calling y'all my baby. Anyway, I got love for y'all, and this is where we bond, right? This first episode is just going to be me explaining exactly what to expect, giving you the rundown of everything that I hope to accomplish with this podcast, and hopefully that we accomplish with this podcast. So, for starters, have you ever felt as if you know that there's something more that you should be doing in life? You know that there may be a purpose that your life has, and you're trying to make sure that your life aligns with that, but it requires some risk, right? It requires some risk. So if you have ever thought like that, I have some solutions for you, right? What if I told you that this podcast is literally dedicated to making sure that we help everyday people like you and me take risk with a purpose, right? So almost everything we do in life is going to be risky, right? But living a purpose-driven life is a risk that I believe I'm willing to take, and I believe everyone should be willing to take, right? Choosing to follow your purpose can be difficult, especially when you don't know where to start or what to do, whether you're wondering what major to study or what business to start or who to date, who to marry, or just everyday life, right? We got you covered, right? The Purpose Driven Risk podcast will interview guests who are considered experts in their field. That's right. And can provide a roadmap to help you follow your dreams and live life with purpose. These special guests have proven to be successful in their everyday lives, in their careers, in their businesses, right? So although we can't avoid taking risk, right? We can all agree on that. We can't avoid taking risk. I hope that our conversations with these guests can help ease the journey, right? Let us teach you how to prioritize risk by what most aligns with your purpose. Hold on. Hold on. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm a little churchy at times, so forgive me. But listen, like I said, let us teach you how to prioritize risk by what most aligns with your purpose, right? So what problems are we seeking to solve, right? The audience that we're looking for people who are pivoting, right? You may have a job or you may be running a business right now, but you want to pivot, right? You're like, you know what? This may not be working. I want to try something else that I more so believes aligns with my purpose. How do I do that? How do I make sure that before I jump into whatever that business or that career or whatever decision it is, how do I make sure that I am, minimizing the liability, right? Because everything is a risk, right? But we also don't want to be so stifled that we don't actually take any risks, right? So that middle ground is where this podcast comes in, right? We want to make sure that we have so many guests and so many different topics that can speak towards what your situation and what you're going through at that time, right? Also, college age kids, right? You're coming out of college. You may have picked a major and you're getting ready to graduate. What is that transition out of college, that post-grad life, making the connection between, okay, college and, I hate saying the word, the real world. You know, all our parents are always like, wait till you get in the real world. Well, I'm here. But basically the transition from college to now getting a job, using that major and getting the maximum amount of money, maximum amount of joy out of that degree and out of that major, right? And out of that job. And then also, obviously, people who are looking to start businesses, right? We want to make sure that before we take that risk, how can I speak to someone who can give me the rundown of how they got started, some of the pitfalls, some of the great wins, what to look out for, what to make sure that you don't do, right? So the do's and the don'ts, the how-tos, all of that, right? So to kind of sum everything up, we're looking for risk takers. And I believe that we all are risk takers, right? We just want to make sure that we don't have our hand in too many things to where now we can't really grow, in the area that we believe is our purpose. So as far as, my ultimate goal, ultimate goal, you guys, is to pretty much be a platform for, like I said, the high schoolers, helping them make decisions on what they want to study in college, because the selection of podcasts that I will have will allow for them to go ahead and scroll on my page and say, hey, I'm thinking about being a plumber. Okay, great. I've interviewed a plumber, right? I'm thinking about getting into the music industry. Great. I've interviewed someone in the music industry. Here's how you get into that, or here's why you should pick that major. A day in the life of whatever profession, that you're looking for, right? And then also to be a platform for the college age students, and then also be a platform for anyone who's pivoting, right, and just looking for the next step in life. So my ultimate goal is to become the go-to platform for that topic, or for that genre, if that makes any sense, right? That's my ultimate goal. Within that, I do hope to one day have my, podcast as a curriculum in schools, basically meaning, if you're in middle school or you're in high school, and your teacher says, hey, we want you to go ahead and let us know what you would like to be when you grow up, or do some research on what you see yourself becoming, or even guidance counselors. I know in schools, they may be working with students to help them narrow down what major they want to pick, or even for life coaches. I hope that I can be a household name, when it comes down to how to live your life with purpose and how to take that risk, even if you feel a little bit scared. And a lot of the times when we're scared to do something is because we don't have enough education. We don't have enough facts, and we don't feel adequate enough to go ahead and make that next jump. So, like I said, I want to provide that education. I don't know everything, but I do know a lot of people who know a lot about a lot of stuff, right? And so I want to make sure that we provide that connection and fill that gap of having people become educated, so that they can make that risk and muster up that, hold on. Yes, sir. That courage. So, that's the goal, you know what I'm saying? And of course, building a community, right? We want to build a community where those that need answers, can have answers provided to them. The best thing about this is that moving forward, we just hope that we can create a network, right? We have a community, but then you also want to make sure that there's how do you say this now? Accessibility? Someone look that up and make sure that word works where I put it. But we want to have access, right? Especially in our community, right? In all communities. But look at me. In our community, right? We want to have access to people. We want to touch elbows. And right now, we don't have to worry about, in the days and the times that we're living in, I hope somebody listens to this in 2055. But right now in 2022, social media is booming, thriving. So if you're not a person that wants to leave your home and go network physically with people, this is why I got this podcast, baby, right? I'm bringing it right to your front door. All right. So you can just log online and go ahead and network with people, and technically rub elbows or keyboards with people. All right, this is getting weird, so I'm gonna stop saying that stuff. But anyways, that's also a goal, is just to build a community of risk takers, and be able to connect them with those that have taken the risk and network, right? But that's about it. I mean, my ideal, interviewees, I guess you could say, would be, people who are passionate about their profession, people who are passionate about their business, people who are passionate about living life and helping others and assisting others. Those that I will be interviewing, being an expert in your field or your business is one thing, but do you have a passion to serve and pretty much reach your hand down and go ahead and pull somebody up? And you can do that by simply just sharing your experience and sharing what you've been through and how to help people get to that next level. So if you're interested in, being a part of the Purpose Driven Risk podcast, you can go ahead and email me at purposedrivenrisk@gmail.com, and that's risk with an S. I know sometimes you don't hear that S, right? So purposedrivenrisks@gmail.com. And we'll go ahead and we'll connect and we'll network, and hopefully we can have you as a guest on the show. So I'm really looking forward to this, you guys. I mean, it's been about a year in the making where I've had this idea, maybe more than a year, honestly. So I kind of just been sitting on it, and I truly believe that right now is the best time to go ahead and do that. Think to yourself about how many friends or how many colleagues you've talked to, maybe even just people you went to college with, who are now contacting you at post grad saying, hey, I don't even know what I just got myself into, right? They studied a major, but they're like, this is not where I want to be, right? Or maybe they study the major and they like the field, right? But they want to figure out how to get into a different discipline of that field, or they want to see how extensive that field can be, right? I've heard it so many times where I tell people, hey, so-and-so does this for work. And they may say, oh, I didn't even know that was a job, right? We've all had those moments. Listen, you guys, I was a grown man. And when I say grown man, I was about 20 years old when I met my wife, only to find out she wanted to be a speech therapist, a speech language pathologist. I have no shame in my game. I said, girl, you want to do what? Because I didn't know, I could take a guess like speech. Okay, you work with people in speech, but there's so many different disciplines within speech. I believe it's 9. Correct me if I'm wrong, babe, when you hear this, but there's 9 different disciplines, and you can work in any one of those 9 different disciplines. And so a lot of people just don't understand how to maximize whatever situation that they're getting into. And I think if they know that beforehand, it'll help really make a conscious decision and a very educated decision. So we all know someone, who is in that situation, or we all know someone who's looking to pivot, right? Or this person may be you. Right. And if it's you, I promise you that this podcast is going to be able to, if not, I don't want to say save you or whatever it may be, but it's going to be able to help. And that's really the goal, right? So I won't be long-winded. I can talk until the cows come home. I don't know why they say cows come home. I might have to look that up. But I can talk forever. But I just wanted to kind of bond with you guys and give you guys the rundown of what I hope to accomplish. And hopefully I've been clear. If I haven't, I'm not doing this again. So I'm just going to use this take. But nonetheless, man, I love you guys. And it's your boy B. As always, thank you for listening to the Purpose Driven Risk Podcast, the #1 podcast for risk takers. Listen, we simply help everyday people like you and me take risks with a purpose.